Coming up on AgweekTV, the House passes a disaster bill with more than $3 billion for agricultural losses, including prevented plant. From playing in soybeans to making cheese, consumers learned more about how milk gets to their table here at Dairy Fest.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on its community.
And the president threatens new tariffs on Mexico. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook. The House passed a $19.1 billion disaster bill Monday with more than $3 billion targeted towards agricultural losses. That includes an indemnity for on-farm stored commodities lost due to disaster.
As far as stored grain, the House bill that passed had some authority in it.
He says those farmers that lost stored grain in the flood are facing losses on 2 years of crops.
We know what a devastating impact it is for a producer to look out in the field and realize you're unlikely to get this year's crop in. You got last year's crop that you lost in a bin, and you lost the bin.
Most of the $3 billion provides an enhanced prevented plant payment, but whether it's a buy-up on the guarantee or an outright payment tied to a disaster declaration in a county is up to the Ag Secretary.
When you read the language in the bill, it says up to 90% of the loss as determined by the Secretary. Well, I'm not sure what that means for sure. Hopefully the USDA will come out with some more details on it pretty soon, so we'll know where we're at.
USDA has also confirmed prevented plant acres will not be eligible for MFP payments. Purdue had lawyers looking into the legality of that. The Corn Belt continues to see record planting delays for both corn and soybeans with unprecedented wet weather. USDA pegged U.S. corn planting at 67% done, the slowest in history for this state, leaving 30.6 million acres unplanted. Most of the region is normally wrapping up, but South Dakota farmers have less than half the corn seeded. U.S. soybean planting is also record slow and only advanced 10% last week to 39%. Again, South Dakota had the slowest planting pace in the nation at only 14%. Iowa is 48% behind average, and Minnesota lags by 40%. Farmers in the region are past the final planting date for insurance for corn, and those still planting have switched to earlier season hybrids. Corn planted after June 10th can see yield loss of 30%. However, top-end yield potential has also been shaved off the soybeans. Research shows soybeans planted after June 10th experience a 15% yield drag. But since soybeans are more forgiving, the big yield losses don't occur until later in the month.
We don't really start dropping down in soybean yield potential until June 20th, where it starts to drop off significantly after that.
Hofbeck says yields dropped by nearly 25% for soybeans seeded after June 20th, with the biggest hit coming in those fields planted in July. U.S. and Mexican officials met this week to work on a fix to illegal immigration to avoid another round of tariffs. President Trump proposed a 5% tariff on all Mexican imports starting June 10th. Those would increase 5% per month to a max of 25% by October 1st. While many farm groups want an immigration fix, they're concerned about retaliatory tariffs and a trade war with their top export customer for corn, pork by volume, and cheese. Mexico accounted for 15.8% of dairy exports in 2018.
Mexico has always been a great trading partner with us, and especially in dairy, and 15.8% is a lot of milk. That's 1 out of every 7 tanker loads of milk.
Post says the trade spat could also derail ratification of the USMCA. The move comes just days after the U.S. dropped the Section 232 steel and aluminum tariffs on Mexico, and they pulled back their retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods like pork. A U.S. District Court in Texas has declared the 2015 Waters of the U.S. rule is illegal and has ordered the Environmental Protection Agency to pull the regulation. This is the first court to reach a final decision on the lawfulness of the 2015 rule and ruled the agency violated fair process. The court issued an injunction preventing the rule from going into effect, which stops the expansion of federal jurisdiction over small and isolated waters. EPA has proposed to repeal the rule and has issued a new regulation that appropriately defined federal waters. Now it's currently in the comment period. In February of 2017, Titan Machinery closed a dozen Case IH dealerships across the region. That meant some farmers had to travel farther for parts or service. One town that lost its dealership took matter into its own hands. And as Mikkel Pates reports in this week's Ag Week cover story, Kulm, North Dakota has started its own independent farm service business.
Well, we thought we had a viable business here when Titan was here, and why lose it? So there's a room for it.
Farmer Neil Burnson says losing their Case IH dealership was tough, so he and his brother Lowell decided to start a service shop, first on their farm and then in a new building they call Kulm Service.
Well, it's pretty much unlimited, I think. There's going to be opportunity in this area. Right now, they're just focusing on service. So, parts sales down the road, maybe equipment sales, all that's open.
In January, the Burnsons sold the business to their general manager, Ben Pezic. He's also optimistic the area can support the business.
They have a vibrant downtown. We have lots of businesses. There's a locally owned hardware store, grocery store, gas station with repair shop. There's everything here that we need.
Pezic says it doesn't matter if your equipment is red, green, or something else, they'll fix it all and with lower labor rates.
They're getting the same repair that they would get for less money, and again, the personal touch that we're able to put on it, I think, is what I hope keeps them coming back.
Pezic says it may be the only shop in the country that does that. They've kept many of the former staff and are considering expanding.
We put together a good team, and it's really been really smooth for starting a business.
Service manager Jeff Gunderson has worked in the community for more than 40 years, so he's happy to be able to stay in touch with longtime customers.
The people stick together. They form a bond. It's a real special community.
In Kulm, North Dakota, this is Mikkel Pates for Ag Week.
You can read more in the next Ag Week magazine or at agweek.com. Up next on AgweekTV, North Dakota's biggest dairy celebrates 10 years by inviting a few hundred neighbors over.
Add more bushels to your hopper and money to your pocket by harnessing the power of air with Prairie Wind Systems. Whether your beans are chest high or barely off the ground, Prairie offers two solutions that add a constant stream of high-velocity air to quickly feed crop back to the auger, eliminating bunching, reducing shatter loss, and increasing your ground speed. Don't let crop conditions dictate your yield. Check out the Prairie Air Reel or Prairie Wind System today.
One of the things that Mosaic does really well is focuses on balanced crop nutrition in the premium products that we design. And one of those products is Micro Essentials. But it provides in every single granule the nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, in some cases zinc. We added sulfur and zinc with Micro Essentials because sulfur is one of the most deficient nutrients and zinc is the most deficient micronutrient. So our goal is balanced crop nutrition and being able to provide those products to the farmers in the world today.
Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate. So when conditions are right, be ready with genuine Case IH parts from Titan Machinery. Only genuine Case IH parts are engineered to keep your equipment running at peak efficiency when you're running around the clock. Don't risk your bottom line with off-brand parts that don't meet the same standards. Visit your local Titan Machinery dealership today to find out why genuine Case IH parts offer the best value and performance for your operation.
Farmers take pride in growing safe, affordable, nutritious food. And since over 90% of U.S. farms are family or individually owned, keeping land and animals healthy makes sense for all of us. If you have questions about the food you eat, talk to the people who grow it. North Dakota farmers and ranchers are your best source for reliable facts on food and farming. Visit findourcommonground.com and become part of the food conversation today. Brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Checkoff.
DTE is your headquarters for flatbeds and service bodies for your truck. Whether you need to haul bales, heavy commercial equipment, or take every tool with you, DTE has the truck equipment you need. We have over 200 units on hand or will custom build a flatbed or service body on your truck.
Like this Dewey's bale bed with dual lift cylinder arms. Lift, load, and handle your bales with ease.
When you need help at the farm, your business, or in the oil patch, count on DTE. DTE, let us build a truck for you.
A Carrington, North Dakota business opened its doors to its neighbors to thank them for their support and give them a look at modern dairy farming. The Van Badoff Dairy Legendary event featured food and farm tours and highlighted the impact the dairy has on the people around it. Jenny Schlecht was there and gives you a look at the operation.
They walking forward and then they turn sideways when they get to their stall.
The Van Bedoff Dairy is the biggest one in North Dakota. The 6 members of the Van Bedoff family and 18 employees milk 1,500 cows, and they're happy to open their doors to the public.
A small community like Carrington, I mean, if you can work together and be part of each other's businesses, I think that's great, and that's why we kind of have this open house.
Connie and Corne Van Bedoff farmed in the Netherlands and Canada before moving to Carrington in 2009. Not only are they employers and producers of high-quality dairy products, they buy much of their feed from other farmers. The rest is byproducts from nearby processors.
The sugar processing, the canola crushing, the pasta plant in Carrington, of course, corn distillers from the distilling industry. It's a win-win, I would say, to bring livestock to communities.
The Van Bedoffs host this open house to show off their modern operation, but also so people can feel good about the dairy products they're buying.
This place is so spotless, if you drop your food on there, you could pick it back up and eat it again. I mean, this is one of the top dairy farms in the United States, if not the world, and to show everybody where milk comes from, I think it's real important to do that.
We as dairy producers, together with our employees and our cows, feel very good about the products we produce. We also want the consumer to feel good about the dairy they buy at the grocery store.
Father Lawrence Haas is a retired priest and former farmer whose farm all tractors provided tours at the open house.
We're pleased to have them, and I think the whole thing has added a lot to the community.
Near Carrington, this is Jenny Schlecht for Agweek.
You can read more about the dairy in the next Agweek magazine. South Dakota is a national leader in the dairy industry when it comes to growth in both production and processing. To promote that to the public, leaders in the industry started Dairy Fest. 6 years later, more than 2,000 consumers participated in the annual event in Brookings. Consumers got to see all aspects of the dairy industry from production to processing at this year's Dairy Fest.
I'm just really hoping that they learn, how the milk gets from the cow to them, and that milk is a safe product and it's delicious and it's good for them.
The family carnival featured fun treats like cheese and SDSU ice cream, plus activities for all ages.
So in the barn, they'll get to see cows, calves, learn about the feeds that they eat, how we produce the milk. Then we go to the field and learn about the feeds that we grow there. And then we're back to the plant and actually do an activity where they make test tube cheese right there within a minute.
They also learned about the economic impact the dairy industry makes and how it's revitalizing rural communities.
People are coming in, bringing in 20, 30 employees, but there's families, there's kids involved. They're putting kids in the schools. We're bringing tax dollars into those areas for the schools.
Consumers also toured a local dairy to meet the farmers that produce the milk and see how they care for their animals.
I'm very happy if they can see comfortable animals. They can see happy cows. Cows are well taken care of. That's what I care the most.
Attendees toured the milking parlor, loafing barn, and calf area and saw the steps farmers take to make sure dairy products are safe. Dairy Fest kicked off with the Got Milk Gala featuring a dairy-infused 5-course meal and an evening of entertainment. This year's keynote speaker is the co-founder of Milk Source, one of the largest dairies in the U.S.
We've got like 40,000 cows, 7 different locations, 3 different states. And we have a calf ranch that has 11,000 of our calves on it.
Foster's also talked about their nearly 700 employees and the labor crisis in agriculture.
There's a lot of trade industry that is really struggling to have enough people. So then it's who can keep them and who can recruit them, because it doesn't look like it's getting better anytime soon.
Foster says their business model emphasizes employees and sustainability, but it boils down to doing what is right for the environment and the local community. How is spring flooding affecting crops in the Northern Valley? We'll make a crop stop up next on AgweekTV. And later we'll talk with the National FFA president spending the week at the North Dakota State FFA Convention.
This is Dennis Beliski reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
When planting season comes around, time is precious and you don't have a moment to waste. This spring, keep your planters rolling with a user-friendly seed tender from North Star Ag. We have seed tenders for every sized operation from Meridian, Unverferth, and J&M. North Star Ag also sells a variety of Valmar spreaders, the leader in air boom delivery, and is a full-service Meridian hopper bin dealer. Visit NorthstarAg.com to see our complete new and used equipment inventory or give us a call.
How can one tillage tool handle most field conditions, residue types, and tillage practices? It takes a Renegade, the Summers VRT Renegade. Switch from vertical to aggressive tillage and anywhere in between. Adjust blade angles, tillage depth, and more on the go, all from an iPad. Get the tillage results you want, like only the Summers VRT Renegade can. For more information or a demo, contact your Summers dealer.
With the success of the Case IH Steiger Quad Track and Magnum Road Track tractors, it's no secret why Case IH is the leader of the track. So it wasn't surprising when the competition started imitating us. But only Case IH offers a 5-axle design to give you a smoother ride, more power to the ground, with less berming and compaction. Still, we're flattered. In fact, if we weren't already red, we'd be blushing.
At Superior Grain Equipment, we're committed to quality and service, offering you the best in grain storage and dryers for any size operation. Our experts will work with you to determine the most efficient and economical storage solution for your needs. We help protect your bottom line and your future with the industry's best bins and warranties. Make the superior choice for protection today and tomorrow with Superior Grain Equipment.
This week's Crop Stop takes us to Warsaw in northeast North Dakota. The area has had some planting delays because of the spring flooding. Scott Lindenberger manages the Anton Goditis farm. They raise wheat, barley, edible beans, soybeans, and sugar beets on nearly 3,300 acres, plus 2 acres of potatoes for the grandkids to sell. About half their land was covered with floodwaters, but Lindenberger says they're really not too far behind, and he says the recent warm weather is really helping.
Some of it's popping up, some of it's not up yet, but the sugar beets look good. All the crops look real good. Everything's coming up real nice, and we've had a timely rain, and we're looking at some really nice crops, I think, this year.
Lindenberger says he doesn't wish trouble on anyone, but he acknowledges this year's floods could boost prices for farmers here. Farmers got a little break in the weather this week for planting. Will it continue? Here's our AgriWeather outlook.
Weather portion of Ag Week now, and while it's been sopping wet, the further south you look, the further north you look, things are actually pretty dry. What we are looking at is the North Dakota Ag Weather Network May rainfall, the percent of normal recorded this past May. And where we have the blues and the greens, that's well above normal, even 100% above normal, and that's the story the further south you look. But I chose North Dakota because that's kind of the transitional area where we have those wet colors, the blue and the greens, but the further north, it's dry, where we see those reds and those yellows, anywhere from 10 to 50% of normal rainfall for the past month. And that exceeds all the way into Canada, where we do have some of those wildfires burning, some drought conditions, and why the skies were so hazy last week. In fact, we're already registering on the drought monitor abnormally dry conditions from northeastern Montana through northern North Dakota into northwestern Minnesota. We'll continue to monitor this as we go throughout the next few weeks, and conditions further south, of course, are still sopping wet. As for the jet stream, there's been this big ridge. This was centered over the northern plains, over the middle of the country. That's why things got so hot last week. Now that transitions further to the east and moves off the east coast into the Atlantic Ocean, while a trough builds in. That's going to help cool things down a little bit more, back closer to average. We're still going to see warm weather rise further up the west coast, where 90s and even triple digits are expected, while warmer weather starts to sink into the middle of the country. As for precipitation this week, showers, periodic showers in the middle of the country here in the northern plains. That does include the Dakotas, Minnesota. We're going to see periodic showers, so we're going to cool things down, but not necessarily drier. Showers and embedded thunderstorms in the central and southern plains with an area of showers further up the east coast. A lot of that is due to Gulf moisture that is starting to pool further and further north this week.
Martinson Ag Risk Management offers a variety of crop marketing and crop insurance packages to our customers. With over 40 years of experience, our dedicated staff works hard to ensure you get the best advice on crop insurance, marketing, and risk management. Contact Randy or any of the staff at Martinson Ag Risk Management today at 701-205-4200 or visit us online at martinsonag.com.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
With the all-new GreenFit system from Reichart, plug-and-play is finally a reality when using John Deere AutoTrack guidance with existing new products like the Challenger 1000 series or all-new C-Series Rogators from Butler Machinery. GreenFit is an authorized navigation interface that utilizes existing John Deere AutoTrack guidance systems to steer most Challenger tractors and sprayers. GreenFit eliminates the worry of learning and converting to a new steering system when buying an industry-leading Challenger from Butler Machinery. Learn more about GreenFit at butlermachinery.com/greenfit.
Farmers take pride in growing safe, affordable, nutritious food. And since over 90% of U.S. farms are family or individually owned, keeping land and animals healthy makes sense for all of us. If you have questions about the food you eat, talk to the people who grow it. North Dakota farmers and ranchers are your best source for reliable facts on food and farming. Visit findourcommonground.com and become part of the food conversation today. Brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Checkoff.
Do you have a vested interest in land?
The upcoming Great Plains Land Expo is a must-attend event for landowners, developers, mineral interest owners, farm operators, and investors.
Join us on Wednesday, June 26 in Fargo as we hear from a variety of industry leaders speaking on topics relating to land, energy, and minerals.
You'll discover ways to capitalize on agriculture and energy opportunities and learn how to become a better steward of our natural resources.
Early bird rates are available, so register today at GreatPlainsLandExpo.com.
More than 1,700 FFA members from across North Dakota were in Fargo this week for the 90th Annual State FFA Convention at Ndsu. This year's convention attendance was a record, which reflects record membership statewide. They competed in a number of events and elected a new slate of state officers. With more from the convention, here's Rose Dunn.
Thanks, Michelle. Joining me is Luke O'Leary, the national president of FFA, joining us here from California. Luke, I know this organization is thriving. North Dakota membership is at record levels, but the ag economy is at its worst in possibly decades. How do your members feel about going into ag careers at this time?
Sure. Well, as an organization, we're preparing students to be the next generation of leaders to change the world. We believe that really strongly. I personally believe that. And it's exciting to see that despite the current conditions of our industry, that students are being those leaders in the future. We're preparing them to bring innovations, to bring solutions to hopefully better the industry. So while it may be hard for farmers right now, I think it more motivates and inspires our members to do more for the future.
Recently, a blog post came out that was critical of the FFA for everything from being not inclusive of people of color to making girls wear skirts. How do you address some of those concerns?
The person who wrote this blog post was a past member and was still, talked about how they were proud of being a member of the FFA, and I respect the concerns that they have. However, we still believe strongly that FFA can be for everyone, and that our doors are open to everyone. I've seen it as a national officer going from school to school across this country. I'm not saying we're a perfect organization. Nobody is. No individual is perfect. But I do believe that we have the right intentions and that we're doing our best to include everybody of all backgrounds, of all race, gender, sexual orientation, whoever someone is, wherever they come from, they can find a home.
Is FFA planning to address some of those issues?
Yeah, there's lots of talk about how to improve, but that wasn't necessarily initiated by the Post. It was just continued to show, hey, there's always room to grow, and we're going to keep including those concerns.
All right, thanks for being with us, Luke O'Leary, National FFA President.
Still ahead on AgweekTV, with thin margins, marketing decisions are more important than ever. We'll tell you where you can get some help.
For over 40 years, Northside Implement has been your Gell and Vermeer dealer in Webster, South Dakota and Lidgerwood, North Dakota, with new equipment including feeding, grain handling, haying, and skid steer, as well as a nice selection of used equipment including sprayers, spreaders, seeding, as well as tractors and loaders. Northside Implement stands behind the equipment they sell with quality service guaranteed. See us for all your repairs and parts, from tillage to skid steer loaders to combines and everything in between. Contact Dave, Liddell, Mike, or Chris today at Northside Implement, or visit our website for our complete equipment listings.
With the success of the Case IH Steiger Quad Track and Magnum Road Track tractors, it's no secret why Case IH is the leader of the track. So it wasn't surprising when the competition started imitating us. But only Case IH offers a 5-axle design to give you a smoother ride, more power to the ground, with less berming and compaction. Still, we're flattered. In fact, if we weren't already red, we'd be blushing.
AgWeek is excited to bring you the AgWeek app with useful features and the latest news and information right at your fingertips. Get your AgWeek news, weather, and the latest episodes of AgweekTV. Plus, see real-time information on the futures market and view local cash bids for your crops. Stay updated and take AgWeek with you wherever you are. Download the AgWeek app today.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
AgweekTV Soy Insight, brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council.
Grain marketing decisions are always complicated, and this year there are extra challenges, but a seminar put on by Ndsu and the North Dakota Soybean Council may provide some insight. Each year they hold 2 marketing seminars, one in early spring and a midsummer update next month. One of the featured speakers, Frayne Olson, says this year it's really important given all the factors affecting production and the markets.
This year margins are going to be very thin. We know that the decisions you make are going to have big implications, both short-term and long-term. One of the challenges we always face, in particular in marketing, is to make decisions based off of the current information and accurate information.
The seminar is July 25th. It will be held at 2 locations, NDSU's Commodity Trading Room in Fargo and at Bismarck State College. To register, go to ndsoybean.org. Thanks for watching this week's edition of AgweekTV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or download the AgWeek app. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. And we'll see you next week.